does it all mean? These guys had an idea. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 philosophers. For this list, we looked for historically significant thinkers whose philosophies directly affected the societies in which they lived, and whose intellectual approaches, ideas, and/or principles remain relevant to contemporary civilizations. Number 10. David Hume. Scottish philosopher and historian Hume is considered to be the leading neo-skeptic of the early modern period.
Have a little patience, only till I have the pleasure of seeing all the churches shut up and the clergy sent about their business.
Oh, Mr. Hume!
Any hypothesis, he states, that pretends to discover the ultimate original qualities of human nature ought at first to be rejected as presumptuous and chimeral. He also postulated that human behavior is ruled by passion rather than reason, and encouraged a system of free will. Interested in the exploration of what we know and what we can know, his philosophy established the foundation of studies in cognitive science.
Sight, touch, smell, and sound. Only after that does the mind organize and file and connect information.
Number 9. Jean-Paul Sartre. Synonymous with existential philosophy, Sartre claimed to be human is to be conscious. It is to be free to imagine, free to choose, and to be responsible for one's lot in life.
So he comes to the conclusion that if God exists, man is not free, and if man is free, God does not exist.
If we perceive something, then we must be conscious of perceiving it, he argued. These views heavily informed Sartre's seminal work, Being and Nothingness, as well as his own life as an artist, public figure, and activist, and are an essential contribution to postmodern thought of the late 20th century. Number 8. John Locke. A British philosopher in the late 1600s, Locke proposed that the mind was a blank slate, or tabula rasa, at birth. He also called for man's right to life, liberty, and estate. Natural law, he argued, dictates that these rights are essential, and it is the government's duty to protect them at all costs. Locke's essay concerning human nature and his 2 treatises of government were inspirational to other Enlightenment thinkers and a driving ideological force behind both the French and American revolutions. Number 7. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Author of The Social Contract, Rousseau's political theories are essential to the understanding of modern-day democracy. Basing his ideas on an anthropological study of human nature, Rousseau concluded that man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. To solve this paradox, Rousseau outlines an idealized political structure, citing the duties of citizens to the state, and in turn, the state's obligation to protect the citizens' inherent right to freedom. Number 6. Socrates. Declaring that the unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates' philosophy focused on justice and virtue. This study took form through a dialectic strategy of contemplating certain questions to reveal universal truths, a process now known as the Socratic method.
Asking questions where there were questions to be asked, not remaining content with assumptions or with authority. This is very Socratic.
But perhaps his most enduring statement was, "I know that I know nothing." Highly critical of the ruling elite in Athens, Socrates was sentenced to death for impiety and corrupting the youth, becoming a martyr to the love of knowledge and the legendary father of Western philosophy. Number 5. Confucius. Also known as Kung Chu, Confucius searched for remedies to the social and political chaos of his time. He believed in the restoration and maintenance of traditional Chinese values to re-establish an ethical society. This philosophy was built on the principles of loving others, self-discipline, and self-restraint, and an early precursor of the Golden Rule. Though he never saw the fulfillment of these ideals within his lifetime, Confucianism continues to have a meaningful impact on cultural practices in many parts of East Asia. Number 4. René Descartes. Deemed founder of the modern age, Descartes saw the whole philosophy as an intricate web, anchored in metaphysics and physics with practical applications in other sciences and ethics. Integral to Descartes' ideas was Cartesian dualism. "I think, therefore I am," he explained, noting that one's existence is housed in the mind, completely separate from the body. A champion of rationalism and empirical study, Descartes provided the foundations of modern scientific methodology and thought. Number 3. Friedrich Nietzsche. German philosopher and cultural critic, Nietzsche highlighted the death of God, predicting an end to traditional modes of philosophy and religion, and the ushering in of an era of nihilism. Though Nietzsche rejected the notion of universal constraints or truth, it is hotly debated as to whether or not Nietzsche was nihilistic or working towards overcoming nihilism. A prolific thinker whose life was cut short by illness, his ideas continue to ignite controversy and inspire debate. Number 2. Plato. Believing the truth was best pursued through rational inquiry, Plato conceptualized two realms, one of idealized versions of all things, which he called forms, and our physical world where imperfect versions of these forms exist, as illustrated by his allegory of the cave. Plato's Republic best outlines these ideas, applying them to the conceptualization of an ideal society. Though his work veers toward the abstract, Plato's writing is an essential contribution to the annals of Western philosophy, inspiring thinkers for the past 2.5 millennia. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1. Aristotle. Famed tutor of Alexander the Great, Aristotle's works cover everything from physics to theater. A student of Plato's Academy, Aristotle diverged from his predecessor's rationalist pursuits by embarking on empirical study of the natural world. This focus led him to conclude that no metaphysical notion of form exists without evidence of real substance. A quintessential characteristic of Aristotelian thought, this idea would have far-reaching influence on the development of Western philosophy, theology, and science, as did his principles of causality and the golden mean. Do you agree with our list? What great thinker gets your head spinning? For more mind-blowing top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.